Hello, and welcome. Today, I want to touch on 4 things that I believe are the root causes why we're not able to build wealth. That's right, today. Over the past week or two, from my last video, I talked on some things of how we can build wealth. But in the process of having a conversation with some of my friends, I felt like, I should share a little bit about some of the things I feel like could be the challenges in the process of building wealth. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And for me, I have 4 things that I believe are root causes why we've not been able to do so. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Hey, the movie, this is an old movie, Evan the Almighty. There was a scene there where Morgan Freeman started having a conversation with Evan, his wife. And that scene is something I'd like to play for us to listen to, because it talked about how God answers our prayers. And I love that scene. Very powerful. Let's watch.
Let me ask you something. If someone prays for patience, you think God gives them patience? Or does he give them the opportunity to be patient? If they prayed for courage, does God give them courage, or does he give them opportunities to be courageous? If someone prayed for the family to be closer, do you think God zaps them with warm, fuzzy feelings? Or does he give them opportunities to love each other?
Now, imagine this after watching this movie. Think about it for a minute. If God were to answer your prayer today, would you know? If you say yes, or if you say no, doesn't matter. But here's one thing I know though. For most of us, most of the time when we don't like that answer, we go back to praying. Are you one of those? So I've been thinking about this, and I believe my last video really precipitated some conversations around with some of my audience. And some of them reached out to me and requested that I should dive a little further into some of the things I talked about, especially with maybe what I'm about to talk today. What are some of the causes? Why are we not able to build wealth? I'm going to talk about 4 things today. Hang tight. The first one I want to talk about is lack of knowledge, aka ignorance. I don't know where to really start when it comes to that, because that one is really big, it's really huge, it's really profound. For a lot of us, we have acquired a lot of education through the form of education. By that I mean going to school. But I remember what I believe it was Benjamin Franklin who once said this, that don't let your schooling get in the way of your education. How many of us ever since we graduated from school have picked up a book to read? How many? Maybe a financial book, or a book that can help you to personally develop in maybe any area that you want, maybe in communications, or learning how to, control yourself, maybe temperament, anger management, you name it. For many of us, we don't, let alone even read an article. A lack of knowledge is one of the biggest reasons why we've not been able to build wealth. In fact, and I'm going to make a disclaimer again, and I'm not against any religion, but I'm just someone who came from a Christian background. So my reference will always be the Bible, because that's what I know. That's the part of religion that I was exposed to. And that Bible tells me this. So many times, God tells us why. The most popular one is that my people perish for lack of knowledge. In some instances, it was even harsher than that. said, because you have rejected knowledge, I have also rejected you. Where have you rejected knowledge in your life? Because, like I shared in one of my videos, yes, I'm well educated. I have a bachelor's and I have a master's. But when it came to money matters, I was incredibly ignorant. And as a result, I suffered a lot of financial losses because of my ignorance. Are you in the same place? Are you in the same boat? Perhaps you are. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Because if you don't know something and there's an opportunity for you to gain knowledge, why not seek it out? You see, I think for most of us in society today, we have resorted to the kind of life and belief system that dictates what we choose to believe or accept and what we choose not to. And in so many cases, when something seems to be too vague or seems to be too far out, we tend not to go after it. We begin to resolve to or accept certain outcomes as the norm simply because we are either unwilling to question it or we are unwilling to seek out information about it. I'll give you an example. Two people, same qualifications, went for an interview for a job. One got the job, the other one didn't. That's an example. Why? They had the same qualifications, exactly the same qualifications. The one got it, one didn't. Why? Something one person knew, something one person did that the other person didn't. There are numerous examples that we can quote that we probably know of instances like that. And most of the time you want to check it, comes down to what they knew. Lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge. I've had similar encounters. Went to the bank for a loan. I believed that I had all the qualifications, but I was declined simply because I didn't know what to ask. I didn't know how I could have presented my case. A few days later, a friend of mine went to that same bank, got a loan. Why? Lack of knowledge. Something you don't know is preventing the outcome that you actually seek to have. There could be plenty of reasons, and there are. But what I'm trying to say is a lot of times we resort to making conclusions about so many things about our lives simply because we are unwilling to question why it's happening or examine why it is that way. I want to challenge you today that wherever you are struggling with, it is an indication to you that you lack knowledge or you lack information in that area. Wherever, whether it's in your marriage, in your finances, in school, in your personal life, at work, wherever you are being challenged is an indication that you do not have enough knowledge, enough information in that area. That's it. Because the more knowledgeable and the more aware you become of what that thing is, how it works, guess what? You will work it. That's what knowledge does. It's enlightenment. It's like light, right? If you walk into a room where it's dark and there's a bunch of furnitures everywhere, chances are you bump yourself so many times simply because you can't quite see where you're going. But if someone were to turn the light on and you can see, guess what? You'll very likely be able to walk through that room without bumping into any of the furniture. Why? Because now you can see. That's what knowledge does. It brings enlightenment. It allows you to be able to see things clearly for what they are. But that's one. That's one of the big reasons why a lot of us, we have not been able to break free and to build wealth because we lack financial knowledge. We are very ignorant when it comes to those things. But the second one is desire. Yes, desire. What is desire? Here's one thing I learned. I could solve your money problem today. In fact, you and I may think that our problem is money, but the problem isn't really money. The problem is desire. In another form, I can say lack of self-control. For many of us, we desire, and there's nothing wrong. In fact, let me say this. There's nothing wrong with desiring the things you desire. Of course, there's some boundaries that we need to consider, and there are certain aspects of what we need to look at. Okay, but there's nothing wrong with desiring to have good things, to enjoy life, to have a nice car, to live in a nice house, to live in a nice neighborhood. You know, whether you want to have two cars, you name it. There's nothing wrong with desiring a good pair of shoes, to look nice, to dress nice. I love to dress nice. I love to smell good. I love to look nice. There's nothing wrong with that. Where the problem comes in is the fact that we are now not able or unwilling to regulate that desire. So we allow the desire now to go on overdrive. And as a result, we become extremely high spenders of our money. And so we end up never having enough because we're always spending way more than maybe we even make. There are some basic financial principles that we all, if we just understand them and reduce some of the things I'm going to talk about today and address some of these areas, it will help us a ton. And desire is one of them. Check out your desire. What has your desire driven you to buy, to do, to acquire that you really didn't need to at the time, or that you could have waited for a little bit before doing so? Check it out for yourself. I'm sure, I guarantee you, you will find some instances, some areas where you could have waited a little bit. You could have waited maybe a few years to make a move, but you didn't. Because here's the thing. If I were to solve, let's say 100% of your financial problem, let's just say you are in so much debt and you wish someone could help you so you could become debt free. Wonderful. If I could do that for you by just stroking a magic wand and all of a sudden you're debt free, I guarantee you, in the next 3 to 5 years, you will very likely get back into debt. Why? Because the problem was never the money. It was the desire that was driving you to do things with the money that you shouldn't have done. And part of it too was what? Your lack of knowledge. So all of these things are compounding. I'm going to talk about 4 of them today. But I've started with lack of knowledge and now talking desire. So if you can start evaluating your desires and correcting them, or put some self-control in place to say, hey, I'm going to start curtailing this thing, that I believe will help you. Number 3, lack of discipline. Now, what is discipline? Here's the simplest definition I found somewhere and I love it. Discipline is the bridge that connects you from where you are to where you want to be. That's discipline. It's simply the bridge that's going to connect where you currently are to where you want to go. Discipline is the little commitments you make to yourself that you're going to hold yourself accountable to do some things to help you move from point A to point B. So when it comes to finances, every other aspect of discipline matters. So it's not just financial discipline that I'm going to touch on. It's not just about how you're managing your money. You know, of course, right? Live below your means is one of those disciplines, right? Right? You make more, but you live below your means so you can manage, right? Have money. But in almost every area of your life, we have to consider how we're disciplining ourselves, because here is what discipline does. It helps to build your self-confidence. For most of us, we have tarnished our self-confidence. Why? because the words that came out of your own mouth about things that you said you would do, you never carried along or you never followed them through. So you have eventually trained and taught yourself that my words do not carry value. My words do not carry weight. A simple example is if you're a parent, you know this easily. Whenever you talk to a child, you say, hey, if you do this, I'll beat you. Or if you do this, I'll punish you. And then you don't follow along. So they actually do what you told them that if they do, you will follow along with this. And then they actually did it. And then you did not follow through. What happens? They begin to call your bluff because now they realize that your words do not carry weight. That is exactly what we keep doing to ourselves. And when you keep giving yourself that dose, enough of it, you get to a point where even when you are dead serious, your body has been trained to not honor your word. So even your system no longer responds to help you achieve that outcome because you have broken your own promises for so long that your body has now accepted that as the norm. Can you start to changing that today? And start small and obey your own words. Start small and honor your own words. Do it even when it doesn't feel like it. Just do it because it will help you in the long run. That's why there's a scripture that says when you're faithful with the little, you can become ruler over many, over much, because the faithfulness is about the commitment. It's about the consistency of what you can do when things are small. Start small, then you can be able to rule much. But discipline is that thing that is going to be necessary, not only in your finances, but in any other area of your life, including finances. How about you change that? You start to change that today. It could just be as simple as, hey, I'm going to go to bed 1 hour early than I normally do. And honor that. Or if I wake up, I'm going to do maybe 6 push ups. Just do the 6. Here's one thing I found out the principle of small steps is so profound and powerful. Whatever you decide to start, just start small, but stay committed to the small steps. What it's going to do is going to help build back the confidence that you need to instill in yourself so you now can start to believe in your own words. That is what discipline will do. The small steps and the commitment. But the fourth reason why we struggle is lack of vision. The scripture tells us that my people perish for lack of vision. But vision is that thing that is bigger than you. Why do you want to make all this money? Why should God position you or bless you so you can become wealthy and rich and all of that? Just for you and your selfish purposes? No. If that is the case, chances are it may never happen. Your lack of vision is a paramount piece of the puzzle. For some of us, our vision is too small. We just want to make enough for us, our family, and that's it. But if your vision is that which is going to impact society, I guarantee you something will happen for you. So those are the 4 things I want to talk about today. And these 4 things, they could be more. But for me, these 4 things are truly, for me, the most critical, that if we can fix them, they would definitely help us in our journey to wealth building. I'd like to hear from you. Which of these do you feel like you're struggling with the most? Which of these? I've had my share of challenges, and as I share this, I am not in any way a pro. I am also on my own journey. But I encourage you that you go with me on this journey. Let's examine these things. Let's identify how we can start solving or adjusting these aspects in our lives so we can truly position ourselves for the success that we all aspire to have. It's my time. I hope you have a great day. Subscribe if you haven't. Send me a comment, a question. Share this video as well. Until then, remember this, that with all you're getting, get understanding. Have a great day.